3 words changed everything. I respectfully decline. That's all Bryan Kohberger said at his sentencing for murdering 4 University of Idaho students. Today, we're diving into this landmark sentencing hearing, what it means for the victims' families, why some of them oppose the plea deal, and what happens when justice comes without answers.
You know, it's striking how those 3 simple words carried so much weight in that courtroom. After all the pain he caused, that's all he chose to say.
Let's start with the basics. What exactly happened at the sentencing?
Well, Judge Stephen Hippler sentenced Kohberger to 4 consecutive life sentences without parole, plus 10 years for burglary. This came after he pleaded guilty to killing Madison Mogen, Kaylee Goncalves, Zana Kernodle, and Ethan Chapin in November 2022.
And this was part of a plea deal, right?
Yeah, exactly. Earlier this month, he took a deal that spared him from the death penalty. But here's what's interesting. The deal didn't require him to explain his motive or provide any answers about why he did this.
That must have been incredibly frustrating for the families.
It really was. The Goncalves family, in particular, was very vocal about opposing the plea deal. They wanted answers. They wanted to understand why their daughter was taken from them.
But not all the families felt the same way, did they?
No, and that's what makes this so complex. Madison Mogen's father actually supported the plea deal, saying it would help them put this behind them. Different families process grief differently.
You know what really got to me? The surviving roommates' statements.
Oh my goodness, yes. Bethany Funk's statement was heartbreaking. She talked about receiving death threats on social media, being harassed by media, while trying to process the loss of her friends.
And Dylan Mortenson's statement.
She was incredibly brave. She stood there and called him what he was, a hollow vessel, something less than human. She talked about how she couldn't sleep alone, how she had to make escape plans everywhere she went.
The impact on these young people is just devastating.
And you know what's particularly chilling? The prosecution revealed that Kohberger's phone connected to the tower near their house about 23 times leading up to the killings.
Wait, what? 23 times?
Yeah, the evidence they had was pretty substantial. They had DNA from a knife sheath, surveillance footage, cell phone records.
Tell me about the DNA evidence. How did they get that?
This is fascinating, actually. They worked with the FBI and local sanitation department to secretly retrieve garbage from his parents' house in Pennsylvania. They needed a DNA match to compare with what they found at the crime scene.
That's some real CSI stuff right there.
It really was. And you know what's interesting? The public interest in this case has been enormous. More than 50 people lined up overnight outside the courthouse just to get a seat at the sentencing.
Even former President Trump weighed in on this, right?
Yeah, he posted on Truth Social saying he hoped the judge would make Kohberger explain why he did it. But that's not how our legal system works. You can't force someone to speak at sentencing.
And the judge had some pretty powerful things to say about that very issue.
He really did. Judge Hippler said that by continuing to focus on why, we're giving Kohberger exactly what he wants: relevance, attention, and power.
That's actually a really profound way to look at it.
The judge also pointed out that even if Kohberger did speak, there's no way to know if he'd tell the truth. He called him a coward who slithered through the sliding glass door.
Strong words from a judge.
Well, he was expressing what many felt. He called it an unfathomable and senseless act of evil that caused immeasurable pain and loss.
Let's talk about the prosecutor's presentation. I heard it was quite emotional.
It was incredibly moving. Bill Thompson showed photos of each victim, and then he showed this heartbreaking photo of all 6 roommates taken just 12 hours before the murders.
Just 12 hours before. That's devastating.
He described them as dynamic, vibrant, loving, special, innocent faces. And you could hear the emotion in his voice when he talked about how 4 of them would be murdered in their sleep just hours later.
The family's statements were powerful, too.
Especially Madison Mogen's stepfather. He said something that really stuck with me, that they were ordinary people who lived extraordinary lives because they had Maddie.
That's beautiful.
And he ended with this powerful statement about refusing to stay victims, about taking back their lives and helping others.
It's interesting how different families approach this differently.
Right. The Chapin family, for instance, felt the plea deal was the best option. They wanted to avoid a lengthy trial and appeals process.
While the Goncalves family wanted a trial,
they wanted to send a message: if you come after kids, people are going to put their foot down. They felt the plea deal denied them clarity about their daughter's last moments.
This case has really affected the whole Moscow community, hasn't it?
Profoundly. Moscow Police Chief Anthony Dallinger said he hopes this sentencing will help not just the families, but the friends and the entire community start to heal.
But without knowing why?
That's the thing, investigators still haven't been able to establish any connection between Kohberger and the victims before the murders.
None at all?
None. They believe he specifically targeted that house, but they don't know why, or even who his intended victim might have been.
That must be maddening for the families.
The prosecutor, Bill Thompson, actually addressed this. He said he could have made explaining the motive a condition of the plea deal.
But he didn't. Why not?
He said he didn't believe anything Kohberger would say would be the truth. He thought it would just be self-serving and would further victimize the families.
That's a really interesting perspective.
And you know what? There's nothing in the plea deal that prevents Kohberger from speaking later. He could do interviews or write a book if he wanted to.
But should we even want to hear from him?
That's exactly what Judge Hippler was getting at. Maybe the healing starts not with getting answers from Kohberger, but with taking away his power to keep us asking questions.
The families seem to be finding different ways to move forward.
Yes, and that's really important to recognize. There's no right way to process this kind of tragedy.
Some want answers, some want to move on.
Exactly. And both approaches are valid. The important thing is that Kohberger will spend the rest of his life in prison, unable to hurt anyone else.
What happens now with all the sealed documents in the case?
The judge lifted the gag order last week, and after sentencing, he'll determine which documents can be unsealed. We might learn more details then.
But the big question, the why, might never be answered.
And maybe that's okay. As the judge said, no explanation could ever make sense of such a senseless act of evil.
The focus should be on remembering the victims.
Absolutely. Madison, Kaylee, Zana, and Ethan. 4 young people with their whole lives ahead of them. That's what matters, not the person who took those lives away.
And their families, finding their own paths forward.
Each in their own way, on their own time. There's no roadmap for healing from something like this.
Thank you for helping us understand this complex case. Sometimes justice comes without all the answers we want, but maybe that's part of the process too.
And maybe, as Judge Hippler suggested, the real power lies not in getting those answers, but in choosing to move forward without them.
Mad show, let's go, open up your mind and grow. Facts and stories, things you never know. Every episode, we light the glow. Step into the world of Mad Show. Turn it up, let the river flow. Feel the beat, take control. Don't be shy, just let it go. This is where the magic grows. Tune in now, it's the Mad Show. Lights up bright and minds will glow. Every day we learn and grow. Come along and join the flow. New ideas begin to shine. Breaking limits, crossing lines. Every moment feels divine. In the world of Mad Show time. Turn it up, let the rhythm flow. Feel the beat, take control. Don't be shy, just let it go. This is where the magic grows. Tune in now, it's the Mad Show. Lights up bright and minds will glow. Every day we learn and grow. Come along and join the flow.